welcome to class. Make sure you clean your equipment before you start. Check your straps so that they are the correct length. You will have your headrest up, 4 springs, and your foot bar up. So lying on your back for footwork. Lying down on your back for footwork. Hands firmly pressing into the mat. You'll start in your Pilates V, heels together, toes apart. Take an inhale to prep yourself and draw the abdomen in. And as you exhale, maintain that sensation of drawing in. Maybe try and encourage it a little bit more. Then with the next breath, you'll press out. And your exhale will move you back in. So we're gonna do our footwork to our breath. Full inhale to press out to straight legs. Full exhale to come back in. Again, full breath into the side and the back of the ribs. Full exhale, drawing the abdomen in. Keeping the sacrum heavy as you press out. And sacrum heavy as you pull in. 5 more. Last 3. And once more. Closing the carriage completely. You will take your feet onto the arches next. So floating onto the arches. Press your feet together, knees together, wrapping the toes over and the heels under. Hands are still firmly pressing down. Sacrum heavy, press away. And then control back in. You want your nose straight for the ceiling. And back in. Again, pressing out. And in. Keeping the toes wrapping over the bar as the heels are under. Squeezing the glutes as the legs straighten so that it feels like the legs light up underneath you, and then maintaining that sensation to come back in so that then you feel how the hamstrings work all the way towards the glutes, and then you press away and pull back in. And you do that a few more times, following your breath to press out to straight legs and exhaling to close in completely. Once more. Closing completely to float the feet off, land onto the heels, or the best attempt that you can. Pull the toes back, push through the entire heel to press away, and then pull back in. As you press out to straight legs, squeeze through the glutes, feel the work through the back of the leg. Again, it's a little bit different than before. And then pull back through the toes to pull in. Have your shoulder blades take up space onto the mat so that your arms get even heavier. 3 more. 2. And once more. From here, we lower down to the ball of the foot. So again, the feet, if you can, you levitate to land on the ball of the foot. Press out to straight legs, feet stay together, lower the heels, and lift the heels. And lower the heels, and lift the heels. As you lower the heels, imagine your tibia, your shin bones, floating towards the ceiling. And if you're like, that does not make sense to me, that's okay. Just try and imagine that and see if it softens your knees a little bit. If not, just soften your knees a little bit. Lowering with control, like you're pushing the wall away so that you feel your butt work. And then lifting tall to a high heel. And again, you lower. Squeeze your booty. And then you lift. And 2 more times. And once more. Once you're in a high heel, bend both knees to come back in. We're going to separate the feet just a tiny little bit so that you're in a bigger than normal Pilates V. so a little bit wider than fist width apart. Press out to straight legs. Lower the heels and lift the heels. Again, lower the heels and lift. So this is a different variation of your tendon stretch. Lowering through the heels and lifting. A couple more. And then bend both knees to come back in. Good job. We're going to do a fun little footwork dash hip work routine. So lifting our headrest up to lower down the headrest so that it's flat. You want your head to be flat. Hands firmly pressing down. The feet will be on the arches about hip width apart, and you're going to push into the feet to lift your hips up as high as you can without moving the carriage. Once you're up as high as you can, see if your arms could press down even more to lift your hips higher, and then take a breath to prep yourself. The exhale will soften the chest, the sternum to roll down one vertebra at a time, creating space between each vertebra, like the discs or little pillows that just got fluffed up. And again, pushing through the feet, squeeze through the glutes, start to lift the hips up, keeping the carriage completely closed. Get to the top, push through the arms, squeeze through the glutes, take a breath in. And as you exhale, soften the throat, the sternum, the ribs, your belly button, all the way down. On the next one, we're going to press out. So again, you're going to lift, keeping the carriage closed. And once we get to the very top, we press out to straight legs. And then we pull back in. And then we do it again. And if you're like, I don't think so, this is not going to happen today, then you just keep doing the previous one. 3 more times. 2. Arms stay pressing down. And once more. Lowering all the way down, keeping the carriage closed. Once your sacrum is down, take the legs over the bar, squeeze them into each other, arms for the ceiling, and inhale preps you, and your exhale will sit you up. If that didn't work, sit however you need. Switching your springs to one blue and one red. And going back onto your back. Once you go back onto your back, let's pick up your headrest again. Grab onto your straps. Press yourself out to straight legs. Put your feet into the straps. Once your feet are in the straps, get your sacrum heavy, shoulders heavy, arms open. Start pressing out for frogs, out to straight legs. Pull back in. You press to straight legs, about a 30 to a 45-degree angle, and then you pull the knees back in towards your shoulders. When you press out, squeeze through the glutes to feel your inner thighs pull in towards each other, and then encourage it. As you pull towards you, keep the sacrum heavy, draw the abdomen in so that your spine stays lengthening. 3 more. 2. And then keeping the legs out straight. At this height, you're going to maintain your feet. What am I, Yoda now? You're going to keep your feet at this height. And then you're going to open the legs out to the side until you start to feel a little bit of a stretch. Flex through the feet to pull back towards center. Point to pull apart. Flex through the feet to pull towards center. Continuing this. This could be why people often tell me that different cartoons remind them of me. Pressing out. Letting the carriage glide underneath you. 2 more. Once more. Then you're going to take your feet parallel to each other to lift. Sacrum stays heavy. Feet stay parallel and together to lower. Again, we stay like that to lift and to lower. Still pressing the arms heavy into the mat so that the shoulder blades take up as much space as they need to. Sending your breath to the back of the rib cage. At the top, begin circles. You'll separate about shoulder width apart to lower down, together and back up. If you feel comfortable doing that evenly on both sides, separating evenly from center line and maintaining it, you can start making your circles bigger, a little bit at a time, rounding off the corners. And the shape is really coming from the femur. Imagine the femur rolling in the hip socket. It's a ball and socket joint. Reverse. Lower the femur to circle out and around and together. Chest stays open. You're trying to keep your sacrum heavy onto the mat as you're circling through, still drawing the abdomen in with each inhale and encouraging it with each exhale. Then the legs pull to center into a butterfly stretch. You can grab the straps, pull towards you. Let's take a few breaths here. And then you'll straighten the right leg out to the side. You can support that leg with an arm or hand underneath it. Right foot is going to point and flex, being careful that you don't drop your strap. Stay standing into it. That will help you not drop it. If you're like, I don't know what you mean by that, just ask me and I'll explain it a little bit more. Basically, it just means you keep tension into the strap, like you are literally standing into it. There, see, you didn't even need to ask. Pull the leg back in, switching sides, pointing and flexing the foot. Couple more times, and then pulling the leg back in. You're going to take your hands into the straps next. Hands up for the ceiling. Knees will be at tabletop. So if for any reason this bothers your low back, you will be pulling your knees in closer to your chest. If not, today we're going to work with the knees closer over the hips and the legs out. The arms are going to lower down for the hips. Shoulders wide, control that up to the ceiling. And again, we lower. And we lift. Your inhale takes you down. Your exhale takes you up. Good. Breathing into the side and the back of the rib cage. At the top, the arms are going to open out to T, keeping tension in the carriage. The springs stay open. You're going to keep the carriage exactly the same. 2 more times like this. Once more. Then when the hands reach out to T, they will then reach for the hips. Back up for the ceiling. These are your arm circles. So your shoulder joint, just like your hip joint, are both ball and socket joints. You can picture the humerus, the arm bone, upper arm bone, just rolling in the shoulder socket. At the bottom, keep your hands down and reverse. Open the arms up to the ceiling and down. You open out to the sides, up to the ceiling, back down. For this one, I like to imagine like I'm at the pool, my hands are at the ledge, and I pull myself up nice and tall. Going out to the sides, reaching for the pool to pull yourself tall. 3 more times. 2. And once more. Keep the hands down, bend at the elbows, and then reach long. Squeeze the knees into each other, maybe the glutes a little bit more. There we go. Keeping your elbows reaching into your waistline. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and once more. Bend the elbows, close the carriage. Let's put your feet into the loops. If you have short loops, use the short loops. Your headrest is going to go down. Headrest is flat. You have space for your shoulders. Make sure you have lots of space for your throat during this one. So your nose is straight for the ceiling. And you can look out behind you to keep that space up. Heels together, toes apart. Keep the arms open, lots of space for your throat, nose for the ceiling. You can look up for the wall behind you. Heels together, press out to straight legs, and pull back in, keeping the sacrum heavy. Let's try this a couple more times. Pressing out just like you're doing frogs, and pull back in. As you press out, really squeeze through the glutes. Feel that sensation of standing into the straps. Try and maintain that sensation through your feet and through your legs, and start to bend in. It might make it so that your lower abdomen begins to work a little bit more. 3 more like that. Squeeze the glutes. Keep that sensation of standing into the straps. Notice how the abdomen wants to work. Encourage it by drawing the abs in with your inhale as you press out to straight legs. And as you exhale, you keep drawing it in. And now you want to keep that sensation as your legs stay straight, so that when you peel up and over for a short spine, it's easy to just go up and over. When you close the carriage, lower the knees, keep tension in the straps. You lower through the spine, and then the heels follow. So again, pressing out to straight legs, shoulders open. Stand into the straps, squeeze through the glutes, feel the abdomen. Let it lift you up and over, so that you create space between the ribs and the hips. Once the carriage closes, the knees pull in towards the shoulder blocks, feet above you, keep tension in the straps. Hands stay firmly pressing down to roll down through your spine, all the way. And then you pull through the heels to finish, pressing out, to lift up and over. The knees lower, and you roll. And again, you press to lift up and over, to lower the knees, and then you roll. Last one, your inhale presses into the straps, push into the arms. With the exhale, push into the arms and into the straps, so that you peel up and over. The inhale goes to the upper back, the lower back. The exhale draws the abs back down, so that you can pull all the way through. And that's short spine, super fun. Taking your feet out of the straps. Hands go back into the straps. We are going to take the legs to a Pilates V on the bar, in a really high heel position, reaching the hands down by the hips. You're just going to use the bar to help you float in your hundreds position, pumping the arms, breathe in. and exhale. Holding on maybe with your toes, breathe in. And exhale. This is a little bit different than doing it at tabletop. Just 2 more times like this, breathe in. Push into the straps. And exhale. Once more like this. And exhale. Then you can bend back in, close back in. Hang up your straps. That's fun. Legs go over. Squeeze the heels into each other like we're going to sit ourselves up, but the hands are going to go by the hips. Squeeze the legs into each other and down into the bar. Curl up. Pump the arms, breathe in. And exhale. Again, breathe in. And exhale. Drawing the abs in as you inhale. And as you exhale, maintain that draw. Squeeze through the glutes to feel the legs connect. As you exhale, squeeze the legs into each other even more. If you need a break for the neck, take a break and keep pushing through your feet, pumping through the arms, or you can hold your head up with one arm and switch sides. If you have one more, breathe in. And exhale. And then lowering back down, good job. Sitting up. Once you're up, you are going to lower down your foot bar by pulling the little knobs in, lower the bar, rest it gently, switch to the green spring, and everything else off. So just one green spring. Grab onto your box for long box. Your headrest can come down. We're gonna work on pulling straps 1 and 2. So the one where you reach back and lift through your chest and then arms forward. Pulling straps 2, arms are out to T. You reach back behind you and then back out to the side. If those don't work, you can always do an alternative. Going onto your abdomen, 1 green spring. Shoulders line up with the shoulder blocks. Hands are gonna go up towards the hardware. Palms face in, your head's going to lower down, your feet lower. As the hands reach right underneath the shoulders, your spine is going to become neutral. And that means that your head is going to line up and your heels are going to line up. So we start by pulling back, lining up, then bringing the chest forward as the arms reach back even more. And then we come forward. And we do it again. Reaching the pinkies back towards the ceiling and then lowering down. Lengthen. And once more. Arms open out to the side to T, to reach back and reach forward. The chest lifts, squeeze through the legs. 3 more. 2. And once more. And then lowering down your straps to step off to the side. For your figure 4 stretch or pigeon stretch, standing pigeon stretch, your leg goes over the box. If this is not comfortable, your foot can always hang off. Have your hips squared forward and then hinging. Flat back, your hands can be on the box. You can pull your sternum forward, creating a little bit of extension through your upper back. Ears for the ceiling. And then stand tall, draw the abs in, round forward, and just keep running to where you're comfortable into a stretch. And pulling yourself back up to switch sides. Again, the foot can be off, up a little, flat back hinge forward, maybe a little bit of extension through the chest. Sitting up tall to round to a place where you feel a comfortable stretch. Then you come back up to switch the box over to short box. It can be over the shoulder blocks or in front of the shoulder blocks. Add on all of your springs. You're gonna sit on the box and then you're gonna put your feet through the fussy loop. Fussy loop. Having about a hand's width of space behind you. Flex through the feet. Hug your last rib. Lift the ribs away from the hips. Bring your sternum over the last two ribs, over the pubic bone. Lengthen through the neck. Let the shoulder blades glide down. And then you carve through the pelvis to go back with your inhale. And your exhale pulls you back up. Ideally, you keep the same long flexion through the spine the entire time, and the movement comes from tilting your pelvis. Pushing through the feet like you're standing into them. Draw the abs in. We'll just leave it at that. 3 more. 2. And once more. Rounding up and over the arms for a little bit of a stretch. Then we're going to interlace the fingers, take the hands behind the head to sit really, really tall, holding our head up tall. Squeeze through the glutes so that you lift tall. Look for your toes hinge back with an inhale. Exhale forward. Stay looking for your toes. Only go as far back as you can see your toes and as you can stay tall. 3 more. If you feel like you arched back, it's because you did. Don't do it. If your eyes are going up to the ceiling, you might be arching. It's really easy to do that. And then we're going to stay sitting tall to lift the left elbow up for the ceiling, right elbow down, and back to center. Right elbow to the ceiling, left elbow down, and back to center. Stay sitting tall out of the glutes. Keep that height as you lift. And back to center. Keep the height, other elbow up, and back to center. 3 more on each side. Keeping the hips anchored down, just lifting through the top arm. Last 2. And 1 more set. Twisting to one side, and then back to center. Twisting to the other side, and back to center. Squeeze the glutes, stay tall as you twist. Stay tall as you come to center and go the other way. 3 more, staying tall. 2. And last set. Good, pulling out the right leg. Hands behind the knee. Sitting as evenly as possible, chest is open. Straighten through the leg, bend the leg. Straighten through the leg, bend the leg. Sometimes the knee feels like it wants to pull away from the body as we straighten and bend. Keep the knee in one spot and straighten it there, and bend again. That's gonna make your leg work a little bit more. That's okay. Let's keep the legs straight. Walk the hands up towards the ankle, Shoulders back, point and flex. Keep the foot pointed, hinge back, breathe in. Exhale forward. Inhale to go back. Exhale to come up. Stand into the bottom leg. And if you're comfortable, you can walk down. And walk back up. You go back to where you're comfortable. It might be different each time. One more time. Bend that knee, place it over the other leg. Push onto your box. Round yourself up and over tall out of the sits bones as far as you can. Stay tall out of the sits bones. Then we come out of it to switch sides. That leg goes down. Left leg comes out, hands behind that knee. Sit as even as you can. Find a spot where you can straighten the leg without the knee pulling away from you. And we'll straighten and bend a few times. Keeping the legs straight, hands towards the ankle. Point and flex. I don't remember if we did this on the other side, but just in case, I'm going to do it. I will find out when I watch the video. And then confirm. Hinging back and controlling forward. Shoulders wide. Rolling back, stay connected to your back. Sit tall. 2 more. Now you can continue doing this if you'd like, or if you want to, you can now switch to walking down the leg. And back up the leg. And again, lengthen down. And you're going to whatever angle you're comfortable with. Or if you're me, you're alternating different angles. Then bending that knee. Take it over the other one after your 4th one. Sitting as tall as you can out of the sits bones to round forward as tall as you can. We come on out. Boxes go away. Let's put our foot bar up in high position. And then switch to a red and a blue. Let's do the 2 center ones. You're going to be standing on the side of your equipment, and your foot bar is up in the high position. Make sure you lock it. Then you're going to take one foot against the shoulder block, toes facing forward if that's comfortable for you. The bottom leg is going to stand on the ground. It's not super externally rotated or straight forward. It's somewhere in between, like a 45 and a 30-degree angle on the ground. Hand closest to the bar holds onto the bar. Other hand holds onto the inside of the mat. You're going to press out. There's quite a bit of tension, so it's going to be a very supported stretch. And then you're going to pull in. And again, you're going to press out. And you're going to pull in. A couple more times like this. And by a couple, I meant 4. 2 more. And once more. Then we're going to turn and face that way. You curl your toes forward and your heel is pushing back. Keep the foot underneath you. Bend into the knee, keeping it above the ankle. And then come forward. Try and open the shoulders, the hips straight forward so that you're super tall as you go back. And as you come forward, feeling a stretch through the front of the hip. Good, again. 3 more. 2. And 1 more. Ooh, I didn't think this one through. Now you get to see my butt for like 30 seconds. So that bottom foot is just very slightly turned out. The other leg, the foot will face forward. You'll push away, grab onto the bar to press out to where you're comfortable with your stretch. And then you pull in. Again, it's a very supported stretch. You press out, you pull in. We have about 4 more. Three. And last 2. Closing the carriage, turning that foot, turning the back foot so you're pushing against the shoulder blocks. Hips, shoulders squared forward, front hand on the bar. To go back, keeping the knee over the ankle. And then stand back up nice and tall. And again. This hand can always just hang out. If you'd like it behind the head to help you stay tall, again, go behind the head. If you like it on your hip to help you keep your hips squared, you could do that as well. Last 3. 2. And once more. Good. Closing the carriage. You can sit. Put your foot bar back down to the middle position. Put on all of your springs but the center one. Have your headrest flat still, so keep it down. Going onto your back. So onto the arches, walk the feet out about shoulder width apart. Firmly press into the hands. And just like at the beginning of the class, you're gonna push into the feet, squeeze the glutes to peel up, keeping the carriage closed. Take a breath up here, keep pushing through the feet and the arms. And as you exhale, roll back down. Ideally, you feel way more connected now than you did at the beginning. Again, push through the feet, squeeze through the glutes to lift up. Take a breath, push through the arms, open through the chest. And then let the throat and the sternum soften. All the way down through the belly button and the pelvis. And then we pick up the hips again, all the way up nice and tall. Keep the hips really tall to press out to straight legs. And pull back in. And again, the hips stay lifting, as if you had a scarf underneath your butt that was being lifted to the ceiling. The scarf's being pulled. Once more. Lower down. Take your feet apart, wide on the bar for your pelvic lift, which is much different from that. For this one, we pick up our headrest. So now we have a little bit of flexion through the neck. We only pick up our pelvis about 2 inches off the mat so that you can feel the lower abdomen begin to work. Push through the feet so much that the back of the glutes work, and use that to press out, stand into the feet. Again, you'll begin to feel the abs more and more the more you stand into the feet. Keep that engagement to close back in. And again, pressing away. So in a way, this is technically the longest C curve or flexion you have through your spine. 3 more. 2. This is technically the shape that you want to create when you're doing round back on the box, or when you're rounding back holding onto your leg during tree. And then closing the carriage completely to lower down the hips. Going back to the ball of the foot. To press out to straight legs for running. One knee goes up, the opposite heel lowers. And then you switch. And then you switch. You want to try and keep even weight throughout the ball of the foot on both feet at all times. So even the leg that goes up to a high heel has pressure. for 3, 3, 2, 2, one more. And then 5 quick ones, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend both knees, close the carrot. Legs go over the bar, hands go up to the ceiling. Take an inhale, prep yourself. And with your exhale, peel yourself up nice and tall. Swinging over to the side. And then you guys are all done for today. Thank you for taking class, and make sure you clean up your equipment.